Today's MTR Network offering is brought to you by Daniel Palmer, OnQ.com. Are you still renting? What are you waiting for? OnQ Financial can make it faster and easier to get you out of that apartment and into a new house. Best of all, you may not need perfect credit or much money out of your pocket. That's right, you can get into a new house for low money down. You couldn't move into an apartment that cheap. You would need first month's rent, last month's rent, and a security deposit just to have the chance to make your landlord rich. Wouldn't you rather invest in yourself and your future? At OnQ Financial, our goal is to go above and beyond to assist in structuring a loan program at a competitive rate with a smooth and seamless experience to help you reach your dream of homeownership. Visit DanielPalmerOnQ.com and find out how to get on the right track to get out of that apartment and into the home your family deserves. Find out how easy it can be by going to the website, filling out a few short forms, and telling us exactly what you want that new house payment to be, and we'll do everything we can to make your dream of homeownership a reality. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. So find out how to get to yes at DanielPalmerOnQ.com. This is not an offer for extension of credit or commitment to lend. Some restrictions may apply. OnQ Financial, Inc. is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 5645, license GA 22050. Welcome back to the Unanimous Decision Podcast. I'm your host, DPalm. Follow me on Twitter at DPalm66. Follow the show on Twitter at UDPod. Follow the entire MTR Network at the MTR Network. You found us. Don't lose us. Subscribe in the iTunes Store. Subscribe everywhere podcasts are given away for absolutely free. Subscribe on Spotify. Hey, you subscribed. You've done all these things I've asked you to do. You've listened. I appreciate it. Do me a solid. Go to iTunes right now. Go to the reviews. Search Unanimous Decision and leave 5 stars. If you write something, I'll read it. If you don't, I'll just appreciate it. But I said it last week. I'm going to say it for a while now. The only New Year's resolution I need from you guys is to show support for the show. Share on social media. Use hashtag UDPod when you're talking about the show. I like to interact with people, so at DPalm66 on Twitter and on Instagram. If you follow my Insta and you are a Saints fan, you knew what this was. There's no apology coming. I don't know. Some people might have taken this opportunity to say that they were apologetic. I'm not one of those people. This is not the insanity check, and this is not this past weekend. Not going to happen. Not here. Not now. But I'm glad to be here today because we've got our very special guest. We've got Justin from Three Fifs Pod. What up, Justin, man?
How's it going? Happy Martin Luther King Day, my friend.
I mean, it is. You're right. Today is factually King Day. Before we get anything else, I want everyone to remember that King had a set of morals and values that we all espouse in this country, and that this country killed him for it. All right. You can follow Justin on Twitter at LJ90. And before we get too deep into it, how's your New Year going so far?
I mean, it's there. It's putting in work. Little bit of overtime.
A little bit of overtime?
Just a smidge.
I hear you.
Dude, I woke up. It was like 12 degrees. I was like, what is
this? It's 20 here. And I don't know why they've stopped right before we recorded, but both my neighbors had their circular saws out and they're like chopping wood. I'm like, hey, guys, it's 20 degrees. Stop it. And I don't know if there's like big circular saws sponsoring this today. I don't know if there's an ad I missed. I will not be using my circular saw today. Sorry.
I'm not going outside unless I absolutely have to.
My dogs are outside. I'm like, how are they getting inside? Because it sounds like I have to go get them, but that's not going to happen. So they're just
doggy doors exist.
Dogs have fur coats. That's a fact. They are dogs.
They are. In fact, they are built for this. So
literally built for this. And the reason we sound so happy I'm not gonna speak for you, Justin. The reason I sound so happy is because as you sit here on MLK Day in 2019, I can comfortably tell you all that the Super Bowl has been set and that the New Orleans Saints will not, I repeat, not be infiltrating the lovely city of Atlanta. We'll get to that game in a second. We're going to start with the AFC title game because I'll be honest, Justin. So you've been on the show more than once. I normally send the email with a list of topics and the breakdown, And I said, come off the stomach flu last week. I was just like, let's get Justin in here. We'll deal with it. And as I sat down to think about the show, I was like, I have to believe the NFL will provide. Yes. And I know we all, as a collective, have some fraught relationships with the NFL these past years. I get it. But Conference Championship Weekend is Conference Championship Weekend. And these games historically have been better than the Super Bowl. And for the first time in NFL history, we got 2 overtime games on Championship Weekend. And I, for one, say thank you very much. Because if I'm going to end my football exposure for the end of this season, it's going to be with those 2 games and whatever happens in this here Super Bowl. We're going to start in the game that happens second in Kansas City. The Chiefs hosted the Patriots. Everyone spent all week trying to convince us that the Patriots were somehow underdogs. I could not believe it, but they somehow pulled it off. They were 3-point dogs going in. They ended up winning by 6. I want to explain the UDPod connection to these 2 teams before we get into it. Of course, the Patriots did what they did to me and my team a couple years ago, but also they drafted one of my top 5 favorite running backs in Georgia's last 15 years, Sony Michel last year. Sony Michel joined only one other player to have 5 rushing touchdowns in a single postseason. That other player, Terrell Davis, another damn Bulldog, because it's running back you. Hi, Florida fan, don't say shit. Now, problem?
No, I mean we're DBU now. We are. You can have running back you. We'll be DBU. We can coexist in this space. It can happen.
We'll argue about that later. Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey. Like you can't. Blast.
Well, no. Well, okay. So if we're going back there,
but you're gonna say Emmett, I'm like, Emmett don't fuck with y'all like that.
Well, Emmett has a very specific reason for not. We don't begrudge Emmett for not effing with us. We understand completely why he doesn't like us. Because you throw your brand like 16 times a game.
So that's the UDPod connection to the Patriots. And you may be asking, how in the hell does this pod connect to the Chiefs? Glad you asked. I can't remember if I told this story on UDPod before, but it's 1,000% true story. It's verifiable by my wife and by my old college roommate and teammate Todd Abrams and his wife. We all went to the Columbia Harbor game when I was living in Philadelphia. Susan had never been to a college football game, and I wanted to show her what they like. We got there. She was like, my high school games are bigger than this, and I couldn't argue. But when we were there, I saw a kid in a letter jacket from my high school. Young kid. I was like, oh, okay. So I started talking to him and his dad. I was like, hey, are you from Westminster in Atlanta? He said, yeah. How do you? I said, I'm Daniel Palmer. I guess they remembered my name because they knew I'd gone and played at Columbia. I said, so what are you up here doing? He said, oh, I'm taking like an unofficial visit. I wanted to see kind of the atmosphere at Columbia. They're recruiting me to kick here. And I said, well, ask me any questions you got. I did 4 years. I graduated. I played 4. And we talked for about 20 minutes during halftime. I talked to the guy's dad, and we shook his hand, had a great time. And the piece of advice I gave him, the same advice I give to any student athlete or any student going to college, is find the place where you're comfortable. Because whatever you're there to do, be it journalism, be it football, be it microeconomics, you're not going to spend the majority of your time doing that. The majority of your time is going to be spent learning from the existence of being in college, and you want to be comfortable in that atmosphere. So I told the kid, I said, go to a place that makes you feel comfortable, that will allow you to thrive and focus on the things you're here for without sacrificing like comfort or the anxiety of figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? That, of course, you all need to be pushed in different comfort zones, but do what feels right for you. He ended up going to Georgia Tech. He ended up kicking for Georgia Tech and becoming their leading scorer of all time. He was then drafted by the Chiefs and is now their place kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, Harrison Buckner. And all I'm saying is he owes me like $50. Because if he goes to Columbia, he doesn't do this.
I mean, that's modest, right? I think that's fair compensation.
Like, that's where we're starting. Like, that's to get him in the door, honestly. Like, if you're still listening to the podcast, like, Harrison, I'm asking for more than $50. But I think that's a pretty good tie for this show to get to the Chiefs. And that's why I had a very vested interest in watching this game. You know what's really interesting to me? There were no missed field goals all weekend or extra points.
Huh, you're right. I did not notice that.
Every kick that went up went through. Like, that's really impressive, particularly talking about how we got here.
You know, kicking may be the most thankless job in the NFL. You do your job right, which is one of the playing professional sports on any position is hard as hell, but you do it right. No one cares. Like, yes, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be able to kick a football 50 yards you're supposed to be able to make 50-yard field goals at command. That's why you're here.
Right.
But if you miss, you are hated. You are reviled. You are hated, reviled, and you are turned into the scapegoat for the next, like, that kicker in Chicago. Is he okay? Have we checked in on his friends and family? Good Morning
America. He's about to be cut, but yeah, I'm sure he's fine. But yeah, so the Patriots ended up beating the Chiefs in overtime, 37-31. Hell of a game. The first half, it looked like the Chiefs were done. It looked like Belichick had come out and done this thing that he always does and figured out what he wants to do. But what we all kind of didn't notice going into the third quarter was you've got to remember what Patrick Mahomes does. if you figure him out for a half, he's going to give you something in that second half that's different, and you're going to have to adjust on the fly. And that's what we saw. The fact that they scored 31 points in the second half and all those points in the fourth, that tells me that this Mahomes kid, this is not a flash in the pan. This is a real problem.
He did another no-look pass in the game, the one that Kelsey dropped.
He Mahomes it. Like, you didn't name that shit. I would trademark that.
Like, this is his second year. And so I'm watching the game, and I had a singular thought. I feel bad for Alex Smith. This is why I feel bad. Because Alex Smith in San Francisco had a pretty good year. Then Colin Kaepernick blew the doors off. And we're like, oh, yeah, this Kaepernick kid, yes. Alex Smith, through no fault of his own, he wasn't being a scrub. He just got concussed and got replaced by someone infinitely better. Kansas City, now putting up a scrub year, actually doing pretty well, gets concussed and gets replaced by someone infinitely better.
Okay, so I see what you're saying and I feel bad for Alex Smith because he got hurt this year. Those two situations, we have proof that he wasn't the best fit for that system.
No, yeah, I completely agree.
It's no problem being good, but if the guy behind you is better, I don't feel bad for the guy who was good.
I feel bad that he got hurt and that's what led to it. Like, I don't feel that bad because Pat Mahomes is amazing. I enjoy watching him every day.
Yeah, he got let the fuck go.
Well, what led to Mahomes getting the start in the first place? Not this year, the year before.
Yeah. He didn't start last year.
Yeah.
He didn't play last year. They benched him for a season. They said, okay, we're going with Mahomes, and they let go of Alex Smith. He didn't get hurt last year. He got upgraded. This is this Chiefs offense 2.0. And you got to remember, he's also doing this without Kareem Hunt. They lost midseason. And
they look better without Kareem Hunt, though.
That was another point I was going to make, is that maybe, just maybe, that without the reliance on the Kareem Hunt, they were able to diversify some of those routes and some of those combinations, and you weren't able to key as easy because it's scarier without him. And I never thought I'd say that. I never thought I'd mean it, but I do on both counts. And let's just look at the numbers really quickly. Mahomes finished, didn't look great numbers-wise. And that's one of the weird things about this whole game. He finished 16 to 31 for 295, 3 touches. He took 4 ugly sacks. And he was fine, but on paper. But when you watch that second half of football, my God,
it was magical. Unreal. Like it was like watching a magician at work.
It really was. It really was. And it was a lot of fun to see. It was a lot of fun to watch him operate, but dread it. Run from it. It still arrives. The Patriots, the creeping inevitability that is the New England Patriots, happened again. And it was so wild because, like, watching the game on Twitter, we all kind of talked ourselves into believing that maybe this was the different time that was different. Maybe this was the end. And Tom Brady and Belichick were like, nah, baby, we'll let you know when we're done. We're not done yet.
What is one of your favorite Transformers quotes?
Hope is a lie.
Hope is a lie.
Yo, because when Tom Brady, because I thought it was over at the end of regulation. When Brady went down and scored and Burkhead scored from, I think it was 8 yards out, I was like, well, it was a great run. Chiefs did their thing, because Andy Reid and time management did not make me think.
Yo, I looked at the clock. I looked at Andy Reid. I said, now, how are you going to screw this up? We know what's coming.
Andy. And that's the coolest thing about last night's game, was that I think we found an Andy Reid proof quarterback. Because if he's got any time at all, he's like, I'm going down the field.
Yes.
I'm going to get us in position. And this kid who D-Palm delivered to us via one conversation at Bob McNair Stadium, which is the name of the stadium at Columbia.
That's terrifying.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not Bob McNair. Bob Kraft. I don't know why I said Bob McNair. It's Bob Kraft Stadium.
Oh, okay.
It's still terrifying.
That's still horrifying.
It's still horrifying. But like, Mahomes went down there and did that. Andy could not have screwed that clock up. He didn't give him a chance.
Honestly, I was surprised Andy didn't take another shot down the field with 11 seconds left.
11 seconds, I was like, let's have a conversation. Because the last thing you wanted to do was put these Patriots in the overtime. And this is why, because the second they got the ball, it wasn't so much as and this is some of the, like, people were saying, change overtime rules. No. We don't need 17-hour football games. I'll tell you that first.
We do not.
if you want the college game system doesn't work in the NFL because the level of expertise is so high. Also because, honestly, the Patriots converted multiple third and longs on that overtime. It wasn't like they went down and dominated. It was a very good, very sustained drive. It was just a very tired Chiefs defense. And part of that was the fact that the Chiefs only had the ball for 8 minutes in the first half. So this is the one stat that I cannot shake. Have you seen the play calls, the play numbers?
I have not.
Oh, Justin, when I tell you the disparity, I think it's 94-47. Plays. Like, it's not it. I get it. I understand it, and I get it. But people say, "Oh, they should have the ball." The game is the game, man, and I get it. I got the stat right here. I'm gonna pull it back up here. It's 94-47 total plays. They literally ran twice as many plays. Time possession: Patriots 43 minutes 59 seconds, Chiefs 20 minutes 53 seconds. That's what the Patriots. That was the plan. It was like, we're going to tire out the defense by staying on the field, and it worked. And so I can't begrudge the Patriots for using a long-term strategy from first kickoff that paid off in overtime, and say, "Oh, the Chiefs should have gotten a shake. They should have gotten a quote unquote fair shake." Hey guys, first of all, life isn't fair. First and foremost, life isn't fair.
I would argue the Chiefs had 48 minutes of fair shake.
Yo. That's
like they had an entire regulation.
They gave it a shot. It didn't work out for them. And this is going to talk about the other game as well and inform how I'm going to view that. You can't implement rule changes because one person feels bad. I don't think the Tuck rule was a good decision when it happened. I think the rule should have changed. But I also don't think that because your team was hurt, you should. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, there's no rule that hurt the Falcons. The Falcons just withered. Melted under that. Anyway, I just had a flashback. I'm saying,
Kyle Shanahan can't hurt you anymore. He can't hurt you anymore.
Yeah, you say that now. All I'm saying is that if you think that the overtime rules needs to be changed because Pat Mahomes didn't get a chance, he had, like Justin said, he had a game full of chances, and he made the most of them some of the time. But I think part of the growth and maturity process for this team is going to be seeing how they can develop that defense to coincide with that offense, because you've got to realize that not getting off the field is a problem for them. And when you've got an offense that says, "Oh, we got 14, keep away." The end of the first half, the Patriots were eking out first downs, and I'm like, why aren't they? People were saying, why aren't they being more aggressive? Like, I know why. For who? For what? If you're more aggressive, they get the ball back. Who does that help? So, I'd rather just tire out their team with Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, James White, and then let Gronk do what he does late. Like this is what bugs me about the Patriots, is that we all knew how the story was going. We've all read this book. So we're all surprised by the last page.
That's my question. And as a casual football fan, maybe you, an ex-player, could explain this to me, because I'm watching that overtime drive, and it looked like the Chiefs had just decided we're going to drop 8 back and dare Tom Brady to pick us apart, dare him to do the thing that he is exceedingly exceptional at.
I see what you're saying. The thing about it is, like we said, the disparity in play calls. At this point in the game, do you trust a blitzer coming from space? No.
That is fair.
Too tired. And then, so if he's not going to come from space, what are we going to do? We're going to tip our hand early on a blitz and tell Tom a blitz is coming? What's the safest thing we can do that won't expose our players? You can't even run man because your guys have been running man all night. The strategy with which they approached it changed the calculus for the Chiefs, particularly defensively, because people say, "Oh, just call this play." There are more factors than just play calling. And if a team's been in a pass rush all game, like the Falcons were against in Super Bowl, it's pass rush. Rushing the passer is very tiring. It's very tiring for defense. And being asked to do that on a consistent basis is exhausting. And so I think, honestly, the Chiefs are saying, we've done a very good bend, don't break. Let's get them close and hold to a field goal, and then I'll get our offense the ball. That was the idea. That's what I had to think the idea was, because to say – and that's the other thing with me is that there were opportunities out there for Tom Brady to throw more picks. He threw the 2. I thought they were more on the field, and I think that is part of the problem, not maximizing on every situation, every possibility. But again, that's why the Patriots are the Patriots. That's why they're the gold standard. That's why we're talking about year 18 of Tom Brady's championship window. Michael Jordan's championship window lasted 8 years, right? In a less physical sport. Will Chamberlain's entire career, I think, lasted 11.
Yeah.
We're in year 18 where large men are trying to kill Tom Brady. And he's going back to the fucking Super Bowl against the Rams again. And if he retires after winning this one, because spoilers, I'm picking the Patriots.
They're going to eviscerate the Rams.
You're giving Bill Belichick two weeks to prepare for Jared Goff.
I'm not sold on Jared Goff. The only thing I believe in the Rams is, and I'm trying not to hurl as I say this, but Todd Gurley.
Say his name. Yes. Oh, that's the only reason guys, the pod's over. This is your outro. See you guys next week.
That physically hurt me, by the way.
I know. It brought me so much joy. Before we move on to the NFC game, I want to bring up one thing that I've been tweeted at a couple times today. T-Paul, how does it feel? What do you do as a defender if you know that you were offside and you cost your team the game? That gentleman being offside did not cost anyone a football game. What do you mean? Allow me to explain. First of all, why was he offside? Go watch the tape. The offensive tackle was lined up in the backfield. As a defensive end, you're told to line up off the tackle. It's an alignment thing. Hey, it happens. So I don't think anyone's here to blame, first and foremost. Second of all, let's say he had a little extra step. Forces Brady to adjust in the pocket. The ball sails, and that's why it throws the pick. If there's no infraction, maybe there's no pressure. Maybe the ball doesn't sail. Maybe the ball was caught by Gronk, thrown where it's supposed to be thrown. It's a touchdown. I refuse to play the one play change the game situation unless it's a kicker because life isn't fair.
That's fair. And I appreciate that explanation.
There's just too many variables. Like there's so much has to go right for a football play to go a certain way that to say, oh, this is the one thing that changed it. No, that's not how football works. That's not how any of this works. It can't be the ultimate team game and then all be one person's fault at the same time unless it's a kicker. Again, I don't make these rules. You have one job, kickers. You're just short quarterbacks. Just do your job. Let's go to the NFC game. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's good laughter, by the way.
The NFC title game, the UDPod connection to these two teams. The Rams obviously house my favorite Georgia running back of the last 15 years, Todd Gurley. They also, yeah, well, hey, you said it. You said that's why they have a chance. That's the pull quote for the show.
Oh God.
And
he's so cold. He's so fucking cold.
What? Stop. The other tie that I have to the Rams is less than tertiary. Sean McVay's my age. Sean McVay and I both went to private schools in Atlanta, and Sean McVay and I played against each other in high school, which means I should be a head coach in the NFL.
Actually, yes.
I think my resume speaks for itself. Hey, Miami, don't you want to save a little money? I'll do it for less.
Look, if the Cardinals can come out there in their press release and say Cliff Kingsbury is an acquaintance of Sean McVay, I think the Dolphins can.
I hit him. Let's go. I am smarter through osmosis, through physical contact with Sean McVay.
Let's make this happen.
D-Palm 2019. Let's make me a head coach somewhere in the NFL.
But not the Miami. Well, no, not the Miami job because their plan is to be awful. Their plan is to take.
Hey, Justin, I'll take the Miami job. I don't know why you think I'm here. I'm here for the check.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair.
It's going to hurt your legacy. Fuck a legacy. Legend at the bank. Now, how does this podcast tie to the Saints? I can't. This is the one I was struggling with. I was like, I know the Patriots. I know the Chiefs. I know the Rams. Oh, that's how we tie to the Saints. Fuck the Saints. Fuck the Saints. Fuck the Saints. Fucking cheers for them. Oh, you paper bag wearing. Oh, who that's. I couldn't be happier to watch you all, every one of you, writhe in pain because you led the entire game. You led all the regulation. You did not trail until that kick went through. Did not trail for a bleeping second. I'm editing myself so everyone can share this with everyone they love. 1 second you trailed that game. You know what second that was? Overtime. It's good. And, we'll get to all your gripes in a second, I promise. Oh, they're delicious. They taste like manna from heaven. I'll talk about all the problems you have with what happened in this game. But first and foremost, I want to tip my cap and celebrate the greatest player on the field in New Orleans that day, and his name is Aaron bleeping Donald. So we all think Khalil Mack's great, and he is. We all think Khalil Mack's amazing, and he is. The fact that Aaron Donald does what he does from a 3 technique should give everyone pause.
He's the juggernaut.
It's
you can't stop him. You just see him coming, and you can't stop him. Nothing you do works. It's just
nothing you think works. It's you know what? It's one of those things where, as an offensive lineman, I played interior line, and I'm just like, glad it's not me. That's.
But here is the wild thing about the Rams. That whole D line is cold.
Because all of a sudden Sue is just the other guy. You're like, wait a second. They got Sue.
And Ndamukong Suh is the other guy. Yes. By the way, Dante Fowler Jr. is on the other side, and he's still really good.
But that's tell everyone just how good Aaron Donald is. The fact that they've got those guys lining up in the middle is horrifying to me. But you're right. It's one of those things. So the Vegas lines are out for the Super Bowl, and they're saying that Aaron Donald's hits on Tom Brady are over under 1.5. For the record, Tom Brady was only hit once yesterday against not the best defense. I'm betting the over just because out of sheer fear of Aaron Donald.
Well, then Vegas has done their job. They're enticing you to bet. I think that is a low number as well, but I'm with you. I'm taking the over. He's touching Brady. I'm not saying sacks, but he's going to touch him. He will reach out and touch him.
It's terribly frightening what he was able to do on Sunday against Drew Brees. He ate apart that entire offensive line for the Saints, which is very good. Those 2 Pro Bowlers is a very good line, and he was just like, nah, not today, guys. And that was the difference maker because your favorite player, Todd Gurley, he was horribly ineffective. It was he dropped those 2 balls early, and he admitted after the game, he's like, I wasn't playing because I was playing badly. The coach didn't play me because he didn't play badly. He got a touchdown and a couple of touches late, but it's the fewest amount of touches he's ever had in an NFL game. I believe C.J. Anderson, he of the buffet line and Denver Broncos fame, bowling balled his way to a bunch of yards, and that's got what they needed. They figured out a way to win, and they pulled it out. Now let's talk about why the Saints are so mad, because I've been told that there was a questionable pass interference not called late in the game. Justin, if I don't see a flag, I don't see a penalty. Is that not how this thing works?
Okay.
No. Just no. I promise you, this is not. I'm not going to be the guy. Let me have fun at the start, please.
That is fair.
Okay. Now, objectively, should they have called that pass interference? Of course they should have.
At least pass interference. It was pass interference. It was the helmet.
Relax. It's pass interference. And I'll say it. The Rams players have said it. The coaches have said it. The refs have said it. But guess what, kids? It's the world. You miss calls. Missed calls happen. They happen all the time. Hey, you know how many times I played D-line and they missed a fucking holding? You know how many times I played O-line and they missed the holding? A lot of 30 things happen in a football game, and a lot of calls are missed, and I will not begrudge the rest for this. And people say, oh, we need to replay it. No, we don't. Again, go back to our last caveat. We don't need 7-hour football games. And it was, I think it was Fahey who was talking about this on Twitter last night. One of the least favorite things about American sports is that after a game, the story should be, man, what a great game. City call, but great game. But in America, it becomes, this call altered the game or changed the game or the integrity of the game. Hey, guys, they blow calls in English soccer all the time. And guess who's probably got more worries about the integrity of their game as far as gambling and outside influence? It's them. But their sportscasters don't lead with that because they know it doesn't matter. Guys, calls are going to get missed. I've been told that, hey, I played sports my whole life. What do they always tell you, Dustin? Don't leave it up to the refs, right?
That's fair.
And if I'm a New Orleans Saints fan and I'm thinking about that play call, I'm asking first, hey, why did we throw on first down there?
So that's the point I was going to make. What were you doing with the play calling, Mr. Payton, or whoever calls the plays for the Saints?
Oh, it's Sean. Don't you dare. It's Sean.
Well, no, I say that because I'm not invested in the Saints. I don't know who actually calls the plays there.
Oh, I'm invested enough to know who calls their plays.
All right, so Sean Payton, what the hell were you doing? It's first down. It's at that point, it was what, a minute and some change? And you're getting cute and throwing across the middle?
And the Rams have 2 timeouts.
Yes.
They don't have 3. Like that's what killed me. I was like, wait, they've got 2. Why are you throwing? Because once that incompletion happens, everything after the first down incompletion is 100% the Saints. I refuse to legislate what could have, would have, should have been done if you can't get step 1 right.
Yeah, like Marcus Peters said, if you'd run on first and second down, we wouldn't be here.
Yo, the clock's running, you're kicking 3, and the Rams are trying to cover the entire field in less than a minute.
With Jared Goff, who I'm not sold on.
We'll talk about Jared in a second. Jared's fine. Jared's a puppet, but Jared's fine. So people say, oh, they got to change them. They're talking about now, I don't know if it's actually going to happen. People are talking about making pass interference reviewable.
I mean, if you want 7-hour football games, that's how you get it.
For the record, they do, because longer football games mean what? More ads.
More money.
Which means more money, which means the NFL players won't see that money until the next CBA, which they'll probably lose again. Now, do I feel for Saints fans? Do I understand where they're coming? Do I understand where they're coming from? Yes, that's a different question. Do I feel for Saints fans? Absolutely not. Because there was no way on God's green earth you people could have been allowed to invade Atlanta. I'm sorry. Like there is, and I've heard the talk, oh, what about Patriots fans? Yo, Patriots fans, I can deal with some assholes. We're good. I got you. I get Patriots fans. Saints fans, people have to realize is that when other teams come, there's a lot of corporate money that comes with them. There's a lot of sponsors and backers and people who buy some of these tickets. So it's not all just the fan base. There's none of that with the Saints. This Saints team exists because the government of Louisiana, which does not make money, subsidizes the existence of this team. Everyone who comes from New Orleans to celebrate a team is a fan. It's one of those crazies. The whistle guy you hated, that's them. With better engineering. That's all it is. So unless you wanted that to happen in my city, which some of you did, which I want to go ahead and address that right now, you're ugly. And you're sick and you're gross. You're the kid who said, I'm going to vote for Trump, it'll be hilarious, and destroy the country. Oh, what if the Saints go to the Super Bowl in Atlanta? Congratulations, Atlanta's gone. During a TSA shutdown?
Here is the nightmare scenario. The Saints obliterate the Patriots I can't call it the Georgia Dome anymore. My brain wants to call it the Georgia Dome. But in that stadium, the Saints obliterate the Patriots. And at halftime, the score is 28-3. And then the Saints win. That's the nightmare scenario.
No, it's not, because it's not even possible. You know why? Because the Saints didn't make it. Next question. What if the Saints got hurt and the Falcons came in? And then there's no scenario in which the Saints can play the Patriots. You know why? Because when overtime happened, Drew Brees threw a pick. The pick he'd been threatening to throw all game. Can we all agree to that too?
Yeah.
He threw some balls where I was like, just take it away. Just grab it two hands, one time for me. Take the ball away from him. And he wouldn't throw the pick. And then overtime was like, you know what? I'm going to throw this here pick. And I'll be honest. So Susan flew in from Mexico yesterday, and so I had to go pick her up from the airport. So I watched all of regulation. And so I listened to overtime in the car on the way to go pick her up. Justin, I never knew how much I missed football on the radio. I got my man painting me word pictures. He's describing he's like, Breeze in the shotgunning him to his right, offset right, the two receivers to his left, takes a snap, it's sent to the line, ball falls up. The call of the pick, I almost got in a wreck. I was like, finally, someone finally did it. They finally took the ball away. He's been threatening. He's been trying to give us the football. Us, the Rams. For the record, Rams fan from here until whenever the Super Bowl ends. Rams, all of them.
Let's be real, Todd Gurley fan. Like, let's.
Todd, Sean McVay, get me a job, Sean.
Also,
let's go. Lots of angles for you to play here. Am I cheering for? The thing is, like, I get to watch my two of my favorite running backs of Georgia history play in the biggest game in the world. I'm good. I get to, like, someone who has bettered my life is going to leave that game happy. So I'm good.
I'm boycotting this.
Would I rather the Patriots not win? Of course I would, but I'm not going to fight gravity. Would I rather fly? Yeah, but I can't. So here I am enjoying this here gravity. It's all I got. Same with the Patriots. Like, they're probably going to win this football game. You know why they win this football game? Because the Rams are in it. And the Rams, like you said, a little outmatched. The Rams didn't look great all game. They looked not pedestrian. They looked better than pedestrian, but it looked like things were off, especially, like you said, with Jared Goff. Jared Goff stats, not impressive. They weren't. They haven't been for the last second half of the season. Jared Goff's posture and poise, not great. But when things mattered, he got it done. When it came down the stretch, he got it done. Let's look at Goff's end of the game stats. 25 of 40 for 297, a touch and a pick, only took one sack. Those aren't bad numbers. They don't tell the story of the game, I don't think, but they're not bad numbers.
Yeah, that's fair. But that watching him and watching that game, and again, this is the casual NFL fan to me coming out. I did not see anything that would evoke confidence of, okay, I can trust you down the stretch.
The only reason I say I can trust him down the stretch is I watched him do it down the stretch. Like, if I hadn't watched him do it, and I'm like, oh, he did it. So I think that there are two things I think happened middle of the game or late in the game. So the end of the first half, I believe, you watched them go 2 minutes and they moved the ball a lot faster and better than they had all game. Because I think the communication issues regarding his dependence on communication and kind of what the Saints fans were doing, by taking those questions away, by taking those checks away, it allowed him to play a little bit freer with a little less thought. And I think that's why he converted to more plays. And I think if they can do that against the Patriots, they can relax and go out and play. And if Todd Gurley's back healthy, because say what you will, he says that he just didn't play well. I think it's the knee. He looked good against the Cowboys, but I think it's the knee. The Patriots opened up as a 3-point underdog. The money's come in so heavy that now they're 3-point favorites in less than 12 hours. And Justin, early pick, way too early pick. Who do you have here?
The Patriots.
Right? Like, what are we doing?
I would be genuinely shocked.
Does this change your mind that the Rams announced they're wearing the throwbacks?
I fucking hate that jersey. You know why I hate that jersey. You know what? No. Now I want the Patriots to win by 50. Fuck the Rams. Fuck that jersey. Thank you for reminding me.
Tell them why you mad, Justin.
I had been passively rooting for the Rams because their success is a further indictment of how horrible of a coach Jeff Fisher was and how he ruined Vince Young and set the Titans back a decade. But no, now I want the Patriots to stop a mud hole. One fucking he was right there. He was right there.
For those of you who don't know,
I'm getting mad all over again.
For those of you who don't know, Justin's an avowed Titans fan. So, for the record, on this podcast, he has supported the Rams and Todd Gurley, and he has to live with that forever.
I can live with the Todd Gurley thing. I may despise what he did to the University of Florida, but he's so fucking cold. He's so cold.
He's so good. Oh, but I think we've all reached a point, maybe not you anymore.
No, I want the Patriots to destroy the Rams.
Where we can agree, the rest of America, not including New Orleans or Boston, can agree we're all going to be Rams fans because only the Rams can save us. And for the record, they've done a pretty good job this year. The Rams eliminated the Cowboys and nipped that shit in the bud. The Rams protected the city of Atlanta by dismissing the Saints at the very last opportunity, giving them all the hope in the world, and then snatching that sumbitch away. Delicious. And now they can finish this. They can undo what they set in motion 18 years ago by losing to the Patriots.
Oh, that would be fitting. That would be fitting.
If we close Tom Brady's window 18 years later,
do they then become America's team?
Bruh, they're playing the Patriots. I watched America cheer for the Eagles last year.
America's
team is just whoever's playing the Patriots. I'm like y'all remember the Eagles? Eagles are pretty reprehensible. Yeah, fuck them. I'm like, all right, cool.
The team that, what did they do to Santa that one year?
They threw snowballs
at Santa. Okay, it was
batteries and snowballs, man. Look.
That's what America said, you know what? Let's have two evils here, guys.
Let's hear evils. America was like, let's hear these Eagles out. And lo and behold, they pulled it off, and America was happy. Last 6 years, it has alternated. The years that the Crimson Tide does not win the title, the Patriots do, and the years that the Crimson Tide does win the title, the Patriots don't. So if the Patriots do win, I'm not saying it's Dabo's fault, but let's have a conversation. All right, let's talk about things that bring me great joy and talk about things that made me sick over the weekend. Not my illness, of course, but so UFC and ESPN have this new partnership where UFC somehow was paid too much and not enough because of some of the streaming issues I heard about, and the fact that if you're paying for ESPN Plus, they're going to add commercials too. For who? For what? Well, they had their first UFC ESPN Fight Night this past weekend. I didn't watch the card because I don't care about that card, but I did notice that Greg Hardy was on the card. Greg Hardy, who you may remember, former Cowboy, former Panther, beat the lights out of a woman, left her for dead, threw on a bed of guns, and never showed a day. Greg Hardy on Saturday fought a 260-pound fighter, trained fighter, and he handled himself very well. It's amazing what it looks like when someone who knows the fight's happening or has the ability to defend themselves is in the ring with you. But I digress. Because Greg Hardy didn't win. Greg Hardy left with his first professional loss in the octagon. Not because he got beat up like I would have liked, but because as his opponent was on one knee, Greg Hardy smashed his knee illegally into Crowder's temple. If you've seen the clip, it's hard to watch. If you know anything about UFC, that's one of the cardinal rules is that when your opponent's on the ground or on one knee, you cannot knee them in the face, which I can't have to say. There were asshole chants and boos that came down. And if you ask yourself, the UFC would probably part ways with Greg Hardy from such a thing, particularly given his history, you don't know Dana White very well. Here's the quote. He was in his first real fight tonight. He's got 3 fights. He's fought a guy with 13 fights. You know what I mean? He can fight. That I know. Greg Hardy can fight. He's got a chin. He can fight. And he made a rookie mistake tonight, and it cost him. So if you had a question about if Dana White was going to do the right thing, then, again, you don't know Dana White very well. But also, I just want to hope the UFC next time will if they're going to put him on a card, which they are, because that's what they do, maybe don't include also on the card a woman who survived domestic abuse. Maybe don't have them promoted on the same card. You want to lampshade this shit, pretend it didn't happen. That's whatever. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to buy in, but someone might. Maybe don't slap us in the face by putting on a fight card with a woman whose important backstory includes surviving this kind of abuse. And if I sound mad, it's because I am. It's because I really am. I don't think, and I'm not one of those Greg Hardy should be killed people. I don't think Greg Hardy should. I don't think that there is ever. That's not true. I don't think that he should be kept from making a living or pursuing his dreams or whatever. But I think that consideration must be paid and retribution must be paid, and that you can't just say, it's past, I'm forgetting it. You can't just say, we don't talk about that. Because this is how you end up here. Because I can't frame Greg Hardy's illegal strike in an octagon without tying it to everything that's come before. No one can. No one can. And if they do, shame on them. We're talking about men's figure skating now. Did you expect to talk about men's figure skating today?
No, but I trust you, so let us proceed.
So John Coughlin He's an American figure skater, 33 years old. He is one of the, I guess, big premier names in men's figure skating and in couples figure skating. And apparently he been coaching, but it appears that on Friday he received notice that he is being suspended by the U.S. figure skating by the U.S. Center for Safe Sport amid a pending grievance. For those who don't know what the U.S. Center for Safe Sport is, that is the U.S. Olympic Committee agency with oversight of sexual misconduct and other abuse allegations. The day after suspension, he took his own life. I don't know where to land with this. I don't know. Obviously, I think more information will come out as the days go on. My thoughts and prayers with his family, but it's really telling that I've seen some people try to hold this up about false accusations destroying lives or whatnot. And guys, it's okay to say we don't know yet. It's okay to say we'll see where it bears out.
Right. This is one of those times where it is okay to say, "Yo, we don't have the full picture yet."
We don't know right now, and that's right. Okay too. But I'm not going to let this be a situation where people use this to impugn survivors or victims,
because that's what they do. They don't actually care about the actual false accusations. They care about upholding the standard. They care about upholding a standard of, yo, if you make an accusation, you're lying. Even though we have decades of research and numbers from law enforcement that say, well, actually the numbers of false accusations are pretty low. A generous estimate is 9% of accusations are proven false. Right? And that is the most generous estimate. So, and I also get the want to not say let's wait, because typically when people say, hey, let's wait for everything, what they're saying is, hey, let's wait for something to come up so that I can use this against whoever's making the accusation. No, in this instance, we legitimately don't know what's going on here.
No clue. I have no clue. I don't follow figure skating that closely. I have no idea. But again, I wish peace to his family. I wish peace to his loved ones. And I hope that the truth comes to light. Because that's the only way to protect people, is that if people talk, if people give voice to the people who've been rendered voiceless. And it's inconscionable what I've seen people saying about this whole situation. And so I did want to include it on the show, because it's an example of something that you and I have talked about off air, on air, just as men, just saying, look, you can't use whatever you want as a cudgel against victims, because the key word there is against victims. If you're against victims, re-examine where you stand.
Slightly off topic. Off the topic of sports, but remaining in the discussion. So Freddie Gibbs did a podcast with, I think his name is Van Lathan. I think it was last year, whenever Freddie came out. And they were talking about how Freddie Gibbs was accused of sexual misconduct, and that was later proven false. But Freddie Gibbs' whole mentality is, yo, my situation happened to me. It is not an indictment of the larger situation. The larger situation is when people come forward about accusations of sexual assault and sexual misconduct, they are telling the truth. And you cannot use my situation as a cudgel against those people, specifically those women.
And that's it.
That's it. That's it. Full stop.
If a dude who actually was falsely accused can say that, what are you doing? Let's move on to the more fun part of the podcast before we get out of here and head to my true love. And I'll be honest, I've neglected her. I've been seduced by that seductress that is Patrick Mahomes and hating the Saints. I've been wrapped up in all these other things, like Georgia competing on a national level again. But I'm home. I'm back, and I'm sorry. I missed you, NBA.
Yo, starting the NBA season earlier, I can get used to this.
This is some really nice stuff, guys, because
Like, I can get used to that.
everything's spaced out quite nicely. I don't know. At first, I was uneasy. I was like unsure. I was like, ooh, that's a long season, particularly when you talk about Olympic years or national team years. And now I'm like, let's keep the party going, because this is kind of nice to be at this point in the season on January 21st. And before we even get to the NBA, I want to talk about someone who's not in the NBA yet, but hopefully one day will be a Hawk, Zion Williamson. So Zion did what he did to them boys at Virginia. Got dug on everybody, hitting threes, doing all these things.
Oh, that was so beautiful. Okay. Where I used to live, because I live in Maryland now, but where I used to live, there's a heavy UVA contingent before George Mason pretended that they were good for 4 years.
It was a nice for them, though. It was a good run.
It was a great run for Florida. Yes, you're absolutely right. Florida dashing everybody's hopes and dreams. I made so much money that game because, again, I'm from the area. So everyone's like, yeah, they're going to beat Florida. And I'm like, okay, I will actually put money on this game. Mwah. Thank you, Billy Donovan.
Anyway.
So there's a lot of UVA people. They're like, yeah, UVA, they play it the right way. UVA, they're hard-nosed. They play defense. All the coded language. And I'm just like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I can't wait for Duke to go down there for Zion Williams to eviscerate them on national television. I can't wait. Hopefully RJ Barrett remembers that this is not the RJ Barrett show and just feed Zion. And I can get what I want. So these UVA Trump supporters can just be quiet for the rest of the year.
So
that's what I wanted.
So there was a quote from Scottie Pippen this week saying Zion should shut it down. Zion's proven all he needs to prove. He's the number one overall pick, and that there's nothing to gain from the college game. And part of me, the athlete in me, of course, goes to the, hey, man, like, I get it at certain points, but like middle of the season, da-da-da-da. But I started to think about it, and I heard some of the counter arguments that were on my side. I was like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Because one of the arguments is he's got so much to learn from the college game. Talk to NBA players. They all talk about how they were unprepared for the NBA game because college isn't there for that. Coach K is not there to get you ready for the NBA. He's there to win himself some games to make himself some more money. And, hey, that's the job. I get it. But at the same time, we got to add, the question needs to start really being asked is what value do these colleges bring to these players? I don't know if you've seen the documentary Student Athletes on HBO, but it pointed out a very good point that prior to Zion going to Duke, his Instagram following was so ardent and so large, particularly with such an important demographic in young males and basketball players, that he could have charged $125,000 per Instagram post. He abdicated that ability by going to Duke. So my question is, his profile didn't rise because he went to Duke. He's been a Nike athlete since he was 16. So the question is, what do these universities deliver to these top-tier players? And this is obviously not an indictment of the whole system, which I do indict, but this is not that. This is me asking specifically when you have these top-end players who have proven what they need to prove. Because I think there are players on Duke and on UNC who have high ratings but haven't proven what they need to prove on the stage. But once you've hit that threshold where nothing Zion can do can help him anymore, why keep playing?
So I think to answer that question, we have to remember how we got here, right? Mm-hmm. The whole we don't want to draft high school players anymore because essentially the GMs were afraid that they were going to shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, there was that, and also the NBA PA is also like, hey, if I can keep 1 year of the workforce down, and increase our current members, they want to benefit their current members, not their future members.
Right. So it was never about providing to the player. It was always about providing for everyone outside of the quote unquote student athlete.
That is true.
So there is no benefit for Zion Williams to stay at Duke. I say Zion Williams because come on, if the old rules were still in place, he'd come straight out of high school. Like he'd be in the NBA by now. Raw and all. And that is just what the team would have to deal with. They would have to deal with drafting a 17, 18-year-old. Them's the breaks. When the Lakers drafted, 17-year-old Kobe Bryant, they knew what they were getting, a 17-year-old Kobe Bryant. Them's the breaks. So, yeah, you can learn a lot. You can be unprepared, but let's be honest, and this isn't just for athletics. How many of us were prepared coming out of college to enter our chosen workforce?
Yeah.
Right? Like how many of us were truly prepared day one to just take over everything? No, we had base fundamentals and concepts, but it wasn't until we actually got that on the job training that was like, okay, yeah, this is what it's about. This is what I got to do. So
you're right. by framing it the way you did, it makes more sense because for me, I'm like, I wanted to tell them to stay, and I'm like, wait, why would I keep playing? If I've proven everything I need to prove, and they've told me, and the system that are in place have told me that I only exist to benefit others, why wouldn't I do what was best for me?
Right. And so I would entertain the argument of the people that he's playing with, assumingly he's formed bonds with them because they're playing and working out, and you form relationships with those people. It's like, yo, you want to keep playing for them, but also, again, that's playing for someone else. It's not playing for you. There's no benefit to you. It is just how strongly you feel about the program.
Exactly. And again, we're both, neither one of us are automatons or monsters. We get it. We live in societies, and I could have been. There's no place in my athletic career where I would have said, "Oh, I can do this and screw it for my team." I'm out. I never would have done that. That's just not who I am as a person. And you're right, because of those bonds, because of your teammates, and all the other reasons. I'm just saying that if you want to keep this top talent here, we need to find more ways to make it incentivized for them to do so.
Because I don't know if it's going to happen in the next couple of years, but I would say that the parents of the 12, 13-year-old kids in the AAU are looking at Luka Doncic and saying, hey, he played overseas against top talent. He did okay. He's now in the league. He's no worse for wear. Why can't I do that?
Well, we've seen other kids try. It doesn't always work. But you're right.
It doesn't always work out, but
but guess what? While it's not working out, you're getting paid. It's crazy. Let's go to the NBA now. Let's go to the NBA. The Warriors brought back Boogie. And damn it. Bleacher Report ran an image of the starting five for the Warriors as Batman villains, and I posited on my Instagram that this is the Nightfall season, that Batman's been broken, LeBron James, and that John Paul Valley has taken the suit, James Harden, because he's a psychopath and is ruining what we think we love. He's our only hope, but I think we also are collectively realizing that the hope is worse than the disease. John Paul Valley, obviously James Harden, and what he's doing in basketball. And the only hope we really have is that the night can return next year. Because the only thing that's going to stop this Warriors team is infighting. And that's, for the record, I'm not saying that as like a stretch. That's something that could really happen. But as currently constituted, did you watch the first game with Boogie back?
I almost threw my remote because I looked at that and I was like, so Spurs, did we not think Boogie was going to be good when he came back from injury?
No, hold on, time out. I was like, oh, he'll have to ease himself back in, get these minutes up. No. Boogie hitting threes, Boogie dunking on people, Boogie going coast to coast. The hell?
Like, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, a starting lineup of LaMarcus Aldridge, Boogie Cousins, and DeMar DeRozan, I could live with that. That would be nice.
Don't bring your Spurs nonsense to this.
I mean, that could have been nice. What could have been? Trae Young and Boogie Cousins could have been nice too.
In the words of Two-Face, don't worry about what happens at the top. Look,
oh man, Kevin Durant is such a punchable person.
As him as Two-Face in that picture. Him as Two-Face in that picture made me laugh for 25 minutes. It was so good. But no, this is a problem. Like this is a problem, Justin. Like this is obviously I'm gonna watch because obviously I love basketball, but this is a problem. Full stop.
They are not unbeatable, but they're unbeatable, right? Like
they're not unbeatable, but you're not going to beat them.
Yes,
they might beat themselves.
Thank you.
They're not unbeatable, but it won't because you did something. It's because they did something wrong. That's how you beat them.
In your classic superhero runs, when a superhero is running through their rogues gallery, what is the most used trope of how they overcome? Infighting of the supervillains, infighting of the Sinister Six, infighting of the Injustice League, whatever. That's how they overcome. That's the most commonly used trope, right? That is the trope.
Part. And guess what? When you've got Draymond Green as an integral cog of your chemistry, I'll just wait. I'll wait.
I think that is the underrated part of Steve Kerr's job that he has done exceedingly well over these past 5-6 years. Keeping this experiment together.
Steve Kerr's getting overpaid this year. Steve Kerr's just rolling the ball out and saying, figure it out, boys. And they're doing it, and that's horrifying. Let's talk about Harden and the Rockets because we've watched injury befall everyone else in the Rockets. We've seen Carmelo get shuttled off to some other faraway world to live with Broly and his father. And
A+ now,
reference. Thank you. And now Clint Capella's out for a couple of weeks. And James Harden's like, I got this. Justin, we saw what happened last year when James Harden has to carry this substantial offensive load. He gets too tired, gets bogged down, the offense sticks, and it's hard for them to compete. Do you think he has it in the tank to, one, keep this Rockets team afloat going into the playoffs, and two, turn up to another level in the playoffs? Because you can talk about the efficiency and the points, and yes, this is some record-breaking shit. Aesthetically, it makes me want to vomit.
See, I am of the opposite opinion. Aesthetically, I enjoy watching it. It is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form, and there will be a drop-off. And when the drop-off hits, it's going to be all the way bad.
All the bad. All the bad.
How old is James Harden?
It doesn't matter. He could be 22. The numbers and miles he's putting on every night, like the things he's not even like always he's not gunning. He literally has to do these things or they won't win. Yeah. His 40-point run, that's not because, it's a vanity project. No. He wants his team to win basketball games.
No. So I am not a Kobe stan by any stretch of the imagination, but that one game in the playoffs where Kobe was just like, I'm not shooting, so you can see what happens when I don't shoot. This is why I shoot all the time. That's James Harden. If he's not doing these things, they lose. Yeah. Right? Like, it's not like he's doing these things and they're blowing out the other teams. He's doing these things and they're winning.
James Harden is 29. That's not a young NBA age. To be carrying
in the NBA.
He got drafted. He's an 09 draft. That's crazy to me, first of all. Yeah. But second of all, like this is you're asking so much of a human being. And you can lean on him and you can say, or you can say maybe dial it back some and this just isn't our year.
And I think in basketball, you have more leeway because in football, you can't just take a year off in football unless you've decided from day one, we are tanking. But in basketball, you have the leeway to be like, you know what? Windows tend to be longer as long as we can keep the pieces in place. Let's just not try.
Well, I think that's part of the problem is that you got to ask yourself what pieces are in place. You got aging Chris Paul. You got Carmelo's body stashed in the trunk. Like what pieces?
I guess the assumption is if Chris Paul can get back to what he was in LA.
Oh, you mean time travel? I don't think I got time travel. Yes. Daryl Morey can't travel through time, can he?
To be determined.
Well, because they tried it last year, the Chris Paul thing. We saw how good it was, and he still got hurt. They managed his minutes. They cajoled him, and guess what? He's a year older now, and he still got hurt last year in the time when he couldn't get hurt, and they still pushed him to 7. Them being the Warriors, excuse me. So the question is, what's the long-term plan? Because I don't think there is one in Houston. And that's what worries me more than anything. That's what concerns me more than anything. Saying I don't know what's the larger governing strategy of the franchise. If it's let's see what we can do with James Harden and just push his pedal to the metal, cool. But that's a great way to blow out an engine.
Well, they ruined him before they sent him to LA, so that's something.
All right, I'm moving on to the last NBA story of the day. Wait, you had something to talk about Tony Parker, yes?
Oh God, okay. Just briefly, because Tony Parker came back to the Charlotte Kings.
Let me just say this: you guys booing Kawhi, petty,
and also wrong.
I'm wrong.
Again, I'm a Spurs fan. Also, what we did with Kawhi was 100% self-inflicted. Right? He was hurt. He said, I don't feel well. We tried to force him back because we panicked as an organization saying we have to beat the Warriors now. And in doing so, fractured a relationship with the best player we've had since Tim Duncan. Great job, guys. But part of that was Tony Parker giving an interview where he said, I've had the same injury as Kawhi. Mine was 100 times worse. It only takes 8 months to rehab. I don't get why he's not here. Tony Parker tried to walk it back after that and say, that I didn't mean it in a bad way. I don't know why you guys took it in a bad way.
I didn't mean he was being soft in a bad way.
But in that same interview, Tony Parker said, hold on, let me get exactly what he said. Because Tony Parker also had that same injury and he was pushing himself to come back from it. He said, quote, I worked so hard to come back that it hurt me a little bit to not be able to show the Spurs that I can still play. I knew if I wanted to come back at the same level, I had to be patient and wait out the 10 or 11 months. But I wasn't ready to do that. That's why I rushed it. I'm not going to say that it didn't hurt. Last year, I tried to come back fast. I tried to do it for the Spurs and sacrifice my body to come back. Maybe now I should have waited. He goes on to say that because he rushed himself back, he wasn't at his peak and he basically lost the job to DeJounte Murray. Like him rushing himself back showed us, oh, wow, yeah, you're really falling off. And DeJounte Murray is actually really, 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 really good at basketball. I say that to say, so what you're saying, Tony Parker, is that when you're injured, you shouldn't rush rehab. You should trust your body. And if you say that you can't get out there, you shouldn't force yourself out there the way that we tried to force Kawhi out there and eventually force him out of San Antonio. Great job, Tony. Thank you for coming to this realization 365 days later. I really appreciate that as a Spurs fan.
I love this because you're one of the few Spurs fans I know who legitimately tries to keep a level head about it and does not blame Kawhi.
I watched those games where we tried to force him back. I said, okay, he's not ready yet. Clearly we'll do the right thing and shut him down for the year, as we've shown the propensity to do in the past. We've shut down players for less.
I think it's part of they feel the dwindling window. They felt the lack of security, and also there's the Pop question. How many more years we got out of Pop?
I'm honestly surprised he came back this year. Like,
I can't
legitimately surprised he came back. I understand the logic in coming back, but I can't. I give him a year or two tops.
Yeah,
it's a grief coping mechanism at this point.
Well, you got to remember, he's also taking the USA head coaching job.
I feel like that one's less intensive.
Exactly. He'll be around the game still without having the rigors of being an NBA coach. And I think that's kind of hopefully what he needs at this point. Last story of the day. Last week we covered this Kyrie Irving, coming out and saying how he understood now about how what it was like to be he came out 2 weeks ago and said how these young kids need to learn how to things hand to them. And then this week he said that he called LeBron James and said, "Mea culpa, big brother. I now get what it's like to have the young bucks want everything handed to them early and not want